Hi guys, Annette here. I have a canning recipe for you today. It's going to be the first time using the tripod I got for my birthday, so hopefully it works out well. When I'm filling the jars, I won't need my hand, so I should be able to show you a little bit better. Sorry if there's any background noise. Got the washing machine and stuff going. It's been really hot here today, so I'm trying to do things in the evening when it's cool. Today I'm going to be making some giardiniera. Some people don't put the A on the end, they just call it giardiniera, like in Chicago. It's the pickled vegetables that go on Italian hot beef, if you've ever had one of those in Chicago or just had one in general. I really like these pickled vegetables. They taste really good, but I've never made them myself. I've always bought them at the store. But I thought, how easy would it be to make these? So I've looked up a ton of recipes, kind of making up my own because a lot of them call for a lot of sugar and I do not like sweet pickles. And the ones that I buy from the store are not sweet. So mixed a bunch of recipes together. It should definitely be stable for canning because I'm going to use 2 cups of water and 2 cups of water, and I think I'm going to use 6 cups of vinegar, which is more than plenty. My pickled pepper recipe calls for 5 cups of vinegar and 1 cup of water. But as far as I've read, as long as you have like a 1-to-1 ratio, it's fairly safe, and this is way more than that. I'm going to be using some salt, a little bit of sugar, crushed red pepper flakes, garlic, a few peppercorns, and a little bit of mustard seed and a little bit of celery seed. Just a little of that in each jar. And then as far as vegetables go, in here I have cauliflower, sweet peppers, like the mini sweet peppers. I just cut them into rings. You can see there. I have a medium, smallish onion sliced. I have 2 small zucchinis. That's there. I have carrots, celery. I think that's it. A lot of the giardiniera recipes call for different vegetables too. The ones that I put in here are pretty basic. Some don't call for the zucchini, some call for cucumber. I even found ones that had like broccoli in them. I didn't think that sounded very good pickled. I've never had it pickled in the store. I don't think the one in the store usually has zucchini, but you know, zucchinis are coming out of the garden, so you might as well add them to your pickles. So I'm going to start with, let's see over here, clean jars. So if you're processing 10 minutes or more, you do not have to sterilize your jars anymore. And since the vegetables are cold, I am not going to sterilize those. I have hot water going in my water bath canner back there. And I think the first thing I'm going to show you guys is the brine. So let me get the camera set up and we will get the brine going. Okay guys, so in my stainless steel pot, you want to use something non-reactive. You definitely don't want to use aluminum, at least, because the acidity can leach the aluminum from your pan. But in this stainless steel pot, I have 2 cups of water, and so far 5 cups of vinegar. Here's the last cup of vinegar going in, and today I'm just using distilled white vinegar. Most of the recipes just called for this, and I like the flavor of apple cider vinegar, but I want the brine to be really clear to showcase the vegetables, because I think I'm also going to enter this in my county fair. So I'll show you. That's my distilled white vinegar. I get the 2-pack from Costco. So we're just going to let that start to heat up. And to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of canning and pickling salt. Mine comes in a box because it's Morton's and I don't like to keep it in the box, so just in case it gets wet. So I transfer mine to a jar and label it. So there's 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of salt, and I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar, which I need to grab. Sorry about that. I had to go grab the sugar. So there's 1 tablespoon of sugar and 2 tablespoons of sugar. So I'm going to bring that up to a boil, and that's going to be the brine. The seasonings I'm going to add directly to the jar, and I'll show you guys that next. Hey guys, I'm back. I just want to adjust this a little bit because it looks different on my screen when it's in camera mode than when it's on like video mode. So here we go. I think that'll work. I'm just going to fill up these jars here. I don't know how many I'm going to get, so I'm going to do the seasonings that are going to go in each jar after I fill them up. I was going to put them in each jar, and then I figured that will just dirty and waste seasonings depending on how many I get, because I don't know exactly. As I fill these up, I'm going to push the vegetables down as much as I can. I washed my hands very well, and I really want to pack them in because I'm raw packing these. That's how I do my pickled peppers as well. And I don't want them to float too badly, so you really want to push them in the jar because they kind of shrink up a little bit when you do process them for the 10 minutes. And as I put them in, I'm going to fill the jars up to about 1 inch, ½ inch-ish headspace. You want the brine to go up to a ½ inch, but you don't really want your vegetables outside of the brine. So I'll probably try to fill the vegetables up to about the 1 inch headspace, maybe the ½ inch, depending on how much I can kind of pack them in there. And as I pack them in, I'm going to go over how much of each vegetable I put in this mixture. So I put in 1 small head of cauliflower. I put in, like I said, 1 medium onion, 2 small zucchini, 3 large carrots, about 4 small stalks of celery. They were organic and they were really small. And then the peppers, I think I used about 12 of the mini peppers. I would say you would probably need 3 or 4 big bell peppers if you wanted to go that route, because a lot of the recipes did call for just the big bell peppers. And a lot of the recipes also called for hot peppers. I like to control the heat in my recipes because a lot of my family members don't like things too hot. So I just want to try and make them so that they're not too spicy. So instead of adding hot peppers, I'm going to add some red pepper flakes like I do when I do my dilly beans. And there is no dill going into this recipe. I did, however, I had some fresh, I don't know if you can see it. I guess you can see it there. That's fresh basil leaves from the plant in my windowsill. And so I thought, since it's kind of an Italian mix, some a chiffonade of basil would go well in there. So there's 1 jar. It's about up to the 1 inch headspace. I'm going to go ahead and keep packing these jars. And when I have them all filled, I'll bring you guys back. Okay guys, so what I have here would be about 6 pints. There are actually 4 pints here, 3 regular mouth, 1 wide mouth. This is one of those Marie's salad dressing jars. I think I've showed you before that I save these and reuse them. They take a regular mouth lid. They're not quite a pint, but they're not quite 12 ounces. I want to say there are probably about 14. And that one could be a little bit more full, but it was the last one I filled up, and so I'll probably just keep that one for myself. And then this one is a Classico Atlas pasta sauce jar. They also take a regular mouth canning lid. You can reuse these. And this is a 24-ounce jar. So if I'm going to eat this with the entire family, like if we make the Italian hot beef sandwiches, I'll want to open a bigger jar, and so I use this 24-ounce one. So if I used a pint and a pint, that would probably equal out to about 6 pints with what I used. I'm going to go ahead and start adding the spices. So give me just 1 second. Okay guys, to each jar I'm going to add some of these dehydrated garlic flakes. You guys have seen me use these in pickling recipes in the past, like my dilly beans. I really like these. It ensures that I don't have to have the fresh garlic on hand, and they pickle up delicious. They taste so good. I purposely fish them out of the jar to eat them. They're very good. So I just, with my clean hands, take a little sprinkle of those and sprinkle them right into the jar. This recipe will be really good with garlic, and so I'm going to put a decent amount of this in each jar. Plus it looks really nice in the jar. A little bit more for that one because it's big, and some in this one, and a lot in that one because it's for me, so I might as well really load it up with the garlic, which I love those pickled garlic pieces anyway. Then I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon, I don't know if that focuses so you can see, 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper in each one. I think that'll give it enough heat for my family's liking. That's pretty much what I use in my dilly bean recipe, and it has a good heat to it, but not like hot at all. Just gives it flavor, which is what we like in my family. Nobody likes anything extremely hot. So if you guys have seen my salsa recipe that I have up, it's not that hot either because my family just does not like anything too spicy. And then I feel like whenever anybody opens a jar, or if I open a jar and I want a little bit more heat to it, I can add either some crushed red pepper, or I can add some ground red pepper to it. So like the salsa, if I feel like it doesn't have enough heat, I just add a little bit of extra red pepper to it when I open it up. I'm going to do just a couple of black peppercorns. They just always look nice in a jar. They add a good bit of flavor. So 3-4 per jar should be enough. Peppercorns are always a good thing to have on hand if you're pickling because they do add really good flavor. I'm going to add a little bit of celery seed. That's what this is. Probably like 1/8 of a teaspoon, not much, like a little pinch, but I'm going to just use my little 1/4 of a teaspoon, but I'm definitely not putting that much in. That would be really overpowering for celery seed. So just a pinch of celery seed. I think since there's some celery in here, it'll give it some really good flavor. And then the same thing with the mustard seed. I'm just going to add a few little mustard seeds. These happen to be brown ones. They're the ones I could find. I have brown and yellow somewhere, but just a little sprinkling of mustard seed in each jar. They'll look pretty in there, and they'll add a nice little flavor to this pickle as well. So there we go. There's that. Not really any science to it, just what I had on hand and the flavors that my family likes. And also the basil is going to lend good flavor in there, and there's not much because I didn't want it to be overpowering. So there's probably just a few little chiffonades in each jar, not many. The brine has been simmering, so I'm going to bring that over next and start ladling it into the jars. Okay, our brine is nice and hot, and like you can see maybe in the pan, it is extremely clear, which is how I want it for this recipe. If this tastes good and is nice and clear, I may try substituting maybe like half apple cider vinegar, half white vinegar next time. That's what I do with my pickled peppers, and they come out pretty clear, but I just don't know how these vegetables are going to bleed, especially with the brown mustard seed and things like that, so I just stuck with the white this time. And we're going to fill this up to a 1/2 inch headspace. It's pretty close. And there's probably going to be some trapped air in these jars. We will definitely debubble them. And when I go to do that, I'll bring you guys back. I'm pretty sure you guys get what I'm doing here, just filling these up to a 1/2 inch headspace, especially if you canned before, you know. So I'm going to pause the video and I will bring you guys back when I debubble. Okay guys, I have debubbled most of the jars. This is this last one here. I like to use a plastic chopstick. They just wash up really nice and they get down into the crevices without pushing the food around too much. So I kind of like to go around the outside edge. And your food will get pushed up a little bit. That's okay. You just push it back down. You just want to make sure that there are no air bubbles trapped underneath any of the food that's in there. They can cause spoilage and lid failure and I guess jar breakage from what I have read. So nobody wants any of those things to happen. So debubbling is a smart, oops, oh, we had a pepper overboard. That's okay. And then I just kind of push it down. Oops. The headspace is pretty good on most of these. This one has a little too much brine, I think, in it, so I might take a tiny bit off. But overall, it's pretty good. Like I see, the vegetables will shrink up a little bit. I think everything else has about a 1 inch headspace though, so, or a 1/2 inch headspace, I should say. So I'm going to wipe the rims and put the lids on, and when I get to that, I'll be right back. I'm going to show you guys real quick. I'm using these Golden Harvest lids for the first time. They're made by the same company that makes the Care and the Ball lids. The only difference is this box isn't open. I opened a box somewhere just so I could look at them. But they have nothing written on them at all, which I don't mind at all because this is just like the Walmart brand and that is made in America now. So they may even be the exact same thing, but these ones are made by the Ball Company, and I got them at Big Lots for $1.50. They were $1.50 at my Big Lots, and I got a bunch of them actually when my Big Lots had a 20% off sale, so they actually ended up being a bit cheaper than $1.50. So let me get the lids ready and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I've wiped off all the rims of my jars with a clean wet paper towel. I will show you. I just use a napkin or a paper towel and then you just go along the edge like so. You just want to make sure that there's no debris on the edge that would cause a lid failure. This has a vinegary brine to it. It's not greasy, so I don't really worry about using vinegar when I wipe the rims. I just use water. But if I'm doing something greasy, I use a little bit of vinegar to wipe the rims to make sure all the grease is cut. So I have one wide mouth, and that will go right there. I have a couple of, I think these were Care lids, and I'll put those on here. And then I have 3 of the Golden Harvest lids. And I just wash these in warm soapy water and rinse them really well. I have not had any problems not heating them. Sometimes I do still put them in a bowl of warm water. Fingertip tight on the lids. Not too loose, or you can have a lot of seepage from your jars, but not too tight so that the air can't escape. And I haven't had, like I was saying, I haven't had any seal failures happen from not putting the lids in warm water. So I don't think it's a problem. I wish they still made these white. I think they're so pretty, but you can only find them if you find old ones. They don't make white anymore. They do have some colored ones that they make now, but I just don't find them as pretty. I've gotten some on clearance, but I like the old white rings. And then the lids used to have fruit on them, and they came on like the fruit jars, which I thought were really cute, but no, alas, they make them no longer. I'm going to turn my pan up over here. Hang on, let me change the position of the camera for you guys. Okay guys, so here is our steamy pot of water, and it is boiling away. I adjusted on the burner here a little bit actually. There we go. And my jar lifter. I'll put the biggest one in first. Now these jars are pretty hot, so they shouldn't break. You want to be a little more careful with pickles than jam, because the pickles aren't quite as hot. The brine is hot, but the vegetables aren't hot when you put them in. So, and if I need to add some more water to cover that jar, I will. I just wasn't sure if I would need it. Oops, adding all of these in. And don't knock your jars over. But it looks like I might need to add a little bit of water. Yeah, because that is just barely covering. It is covering, so I don't find it unsafe. But I will add just a little bit of hot water. Make sure it comes back up to a boil. And then start the processing time at 10 minutes. For most pickles are 10 minutes. Some older canning books you might find might say 5. I think it's still considered safe to do 5 if you sterilize everything first, like sterilizing your jars and stuff, but you'd have to double check that on the National Centers for Home Food Preservation website. Most of the recipes for this that I saw that were for canning said to process them for 10 minutes, and that's how I do my pickled peppers, and so that's what I'm gonna go for here. When I buy it canned at the store, it is on the softer side. It's not super crunchy, so I'm not too worried about that. Plus all the vegetables were raw packed, so they haven't been cooked at all. So when these are done processing, I'll bring you guys back. Remember to start your timer at 10 minutes from when it becomes a full rolling boil. And I don't know if you saw it in there, there's a little piece of basil floating around, but it won't hurt anything. I think it was stuck to the bottom of one of the jars. So put that lid back on, wait for it to come up to a boil, and when they're ready to take out, I'll bring you guys back. Alright guys, I've turned the burner off. It's been sitting for just a few minutes. I'm going to take them out of the canner, set them over here on this drying towel, and let them seal overnight. You want to let them rest for a few minutes after you shut the burner off. The recommendation is 5. I just wait a few until it's, really not boiling anymore, and they're doing fine. It's also not cool in here, so I don't really have to worry about too much shock. I'll show you. Brine still really looks really clear. The vegetables look really good, so I'm excited about that. I think that just looks gorgeous. I also I don't know if you guys can tell in there. You can kind of see the carrots. I have a crinkle cut, sort of a, it's not really a knife, it's just like a little wavy cutter that I found at the thrift store, and I cut the carrots and the zucchini with that crinkle cutter. So there's the one that wasn't very full, and you can see it's still not, but that's okay because that one's for me, so that's all right. I'm not too worried about it. All these other ones are still filled pretty well. They're floating a little bit, but that's fine. They'll kind of sink down as they absorb the brine. And there's the last jar. So there are 6 jars of giardiniera ready for the pantry. And if you guys like this video, please like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and please let me know if you'd like to see any other canning videos or what kinds of things you'd like to see canned. It's coming up on canning season here. We have pear trees and apple trees and peach trees, so I should be busy with those fruits pretty soon. I've done a few jam videos that are on here, so but if there's anything you guys would like to see, let me know. I do pressure can. I don't make very many videos of it though, because it's more of a process than it is a recipe. So, and I'm going to leave the recipe for this in the description box below if you guys choose to make it. Like I said though, it is not an approved recipe. I did make it up myself. So if you're concerned about that, please do not make it. Like I said, I think it has enough vinegar in it that it's no worry whatsoever. But that's my disclaimer, that it's not an approved recipe. So if you choose to make it, you make it at your own risk. I think that it's going to be just fine and taste delicious, and I'm pretty excited that I don't have to buy this at the store anymore. It's about $4 a jar where I live for like the Good brand. I have seen it at the dollar store, but it's like a small jar and it looks kind of icky. But where I live, the Good brand of this is about $4 a jar. So I'm excited to have these up on the pantry shelf, and I'm going to open one up, probably that one that's not very full, in a few days, give it a little time to soak in the brine, and if it's good, I will be making another batch or 2 of this for myself, and then for the holidays as well, to give as gifts, because I think it's so pretty in the jar, and it can go with so many things. It can go in a like an antipasto platter. You can put it out for the holidays, just on like a snack tray. I think it would go great with any kind of sandwich, not just an Italian hot beef. Even if you were just making like roast beef sandwiches or something at home, I think this would be really good topping. I think it'd be really good on maybe like a panini or something. So, yeah, that's my video for today, and I hope you guys liked it. Like I said, like, subscribe, comment. I love talking to you guys, so I love when you comment. It's actually one of my most favorite things when I check my notifications and one of you guys have commented on my videos. So until next time, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.